Our next presenter is a woman who is not afraid of any task connected to coaching or HR. By education, she is originally a teacher in English and a lecturer in Scandinavian languages and literature, but she decided to develop her passion to help people learn and grow. Day to day, she works as a global leadership program manager, but is also the coach community lead at NOKIA and a certified internal master coach. She has wide experience in human resources. She's interested in gamification and creating new solutions linked to leadership development, diversity, and inclusion. In her speech, she will wander on female and male careers. From Budapest, Hungary, let's welcome Bori Molnár.
Thank you very much for the introduction. So you may wonder, why are we talking about female careers and why with this question mark? Actually, a lot depends on us, and I hope that my presentation will inspire many women and girls alike to go for a career with NOKIA. First rhetorical question is, who is your role model? You don't have to share with us, just think about whether you have any inspiration from your private life, from school, maybe in your family, or somewhere where you have spent some time and how they have been influencing you. Think about the role of these role models. You may ask yourself, do we need role models? If yes, why? Or if not, why are they not needed? Actually, if you think even further, you will realize that there are many people who influence us, whether we want it or not. And these influences can have an impact also on our choice of career, what we learn, what we do when we grow up. So think about this, and if you want, write it down for yourself. Let's come to that when we reach the end of the presentation. I was asked to talk about IT and women, and one of the examples I wanted to bring with me was some role models of today who work in the scientific world, some from the past and some from the present. If you look at the left-hand side, you will see Ada Lovelace, who was actually the first computer programmer in the world overall. And at the bottom, you see two ladies who have won the Nobel Prize in chemistry. So there are quite a lot of years in between. And we have also some other role models from science. Some of them you may recognize, like Marie Curie, who is also of originally Polish origin. And Jane Goodall, who works with chimpanzees and has a huge effect on conserving wildlife and protecting the environment. Linda Lucas, I can encourage for girls who are interested in programming, because she has written an excellent book on Ruby and programming language. And I will come to Margaret Hamilton a little bit later. I also thought that it's really important to make the connection today, the context that we are in. The pandemic, the lockdown, and changes in leadership. And what we have experienced is that female leaders of today have won a lot of acclaim from people all around the world because of their leadership, that they have been able to manage crisis well, that they have been able to show their emotion, their vulnerability, and most important, shown their support. For sure, they are influencers of girls, like Jacinda Ardern, who I will confess is one of my role models today. If we look beyond the world of politics and current leadership, there have been some great women in the past, and there are some today who make a big impact on women in the workplace as well as who are studying. If you look at the top left, Ginny Rometty, the CEO of IBM, has always been quoted in female talent programs as one of the examples of courage, being ready to move out of her comfort zone, and preparing for a role in the future. Some other inspirations you can find from other quotes that I'm showing now. Audrey Hepburn from the cinema world, or Shirley Bassey from music, have also paved the way for many women. Moving away from the influencers and thinking about stereotypes, we might have some embedded stereotypes in ourselves about career. And we have the notion that we are juggling so much today that we link it to women. But as a matter of fact, it's not just these typical challenges faced by women that we see around us, but that men have started to take an equal share of many of the household chores, not only at home, but even at work. One of the videos that went viral in springtime was a BBC commentator who was live on a show delivering the news, and suddenly his children appeared in the background. This became a meme, which many women and men started to copy as an example for being spontaneous and juggling well career and work life at the same time. Another example is a politician well known to many, Jacinda Ardern, the Prime Minister of New Zealand, who also juggles work and her private life. While she was in the first round of her leadership as Prime Minister of New Zealand, she also gave birth to a young daughter, and it was her husband who stepped in and started to take care of childcare. So, in my opinion, this is an excellent example of how the world is changing around us and how we can learn from some great influences. Another video that has also inspired me and many women and men alike in some trainings that are run in NOKIA is a BBC video which talks about this gender stereotyping. Children are drawing some of their role models, typical jobs that they envisage for themselves. And then suddenly the teacher opens the door and lets in 3 people. We see them in their uniforms and their faces do not show until they take off the goggles, the helmets or the mask. And it turns out that the 3 people are women, a female brain surgeon, a firefighter and an RAF pilot, very much in a non-female role. Education and awareness building are also very important influence factors, not just for the career, but how we perceive the world. And I think that in some videos, we have really been inspired to take bold moves and fight for equality among men and women. National Geographic, BBC, and some Scandinavian television channels have put together some amazing educational videos. I really recommend that you try and watch some of them, including an animated film called Pearl, which shows how a woman entering the corporate world tries to adapt to the male colleagues and then realizes that she is much better off if she tries to change the environment around her. Looking back to the past, we can also make a comparison between traditional careers and how they have changed. If we think back to the end of the 19th century or the beginning of the 20th century, we had some typical female jobs like assistants, typewriters, people operating the phone lines, nurses. These were typical female roles. But now, in the 21st century, these stereotypes have been put aside in many countries, and more women are becoming more assertive and saying that the sky is the limit. We can do just as much as men. So I have another rhetorical question for you. What exactly is a typical female or male job today? The pictures that I have brought to me should be an eye-opener for all of you. You see some men who are taking on traditional female roles, like a nurse or a dad looking after his children at home, or a kindergarten teacher who is also a male. Another picture that went viral about 3-4 months ago was a female pilot and her daughter who flew a plane, a passenger plane, together for the first time. And why the girl decided to become a pilot was because her mother had influenced her to be brave and courageous. Some other pictures show girls or women in traditional male roles. So the world is definitely changing. We also see in the social media some influences. Some are really equivalent to role models on leadership. The one in the middle that I would like to point out is something that I took from LinkedIn, where Homaria Rahimi wrote, "I'm the doctor my parents wanted me to marry." Think about how powerful this quote or statement is for many girls who are thinking about what role to take. Some other inspirations on the left and the right are well-known female politicians from France and New Zealand. I was also asked when preparing for this presentation about demographics and also some stereotypes that we still have, even within some companies. One of these stereotypes is, yes, girls are very good when doing mathematics in primary school. When they become older in secondary school, this changes and boys get much better scores. Actually, according to studies published in several newspapers and scientific magazines, show that we should get rid of this stereotype. Girls are equally good at maths And I can also add, this is true for other scientific subjects as well, be it biology, chemistry, or physics. If we think about gender and how it influences us, we also should look at space. In space, or where people who are helping other people get into space, we also see great examples of women in science. Think about Katherine Johnson and Margaret Hamilton. I can share two examples, two that I got really inspired by. Katherine Johnson, most of you probably know from the film called Hidden Figures. She was a mathematician and together with some colleagues of hers helped get men into space and actually also to the moon. Similar to Katherine Johnson, Margaret Hamilton used a program language to calculate the route for a rocket. And it was this stack of program language that she had to prepare, a massive amount of work. Not only did she do this, but she became an example for many girls thinking about entering IT or computer science. And she was the one who connotated the term software engineering, which is now respected and well known as a discipline in the world. So I've spoken a little bit about history, today, IT, science, and also outer space. You could probably recognize one of the hidden figures, Ray Skywalker, who probably some of you may be influenced by. But let's have a look at the future. What does that look like? According to the World Economic Forum, there are some new skills that will be needed in future jobs. We don't know yet what kind of jobs there will be in 5 years or 10 years from now. But what we know is that it will really be an advantage if you become good at problem solving, if you are good with critical thinking and analysis, you are good with digital things like technology use or using analytics and data. But two soft skills which women are actually known for to be better at are resilience, stress tolerance, and flexibility that you see here at the bottom, and also the creativity, original thoughts. So taking the initiatives to move things forward. This will turn out to be an advantage in future roles. So think about that and also your plans when it comes to your career. So how can you decide where to start off and what may be a good career for you? Well, everything begins with self-awareness. You probably know this old quote, know thyself. And one step of becoming more self-aware is to understand what are the things that drive you, what are your motivators. In NOKIA, we try to support people on career management, regardless of their gender. So for men and female colleagues alike, we have, for example, a gallery of development tools, including something we call career anchors, which helps you measure what are the drivers, what is it that you are passionate about at work. Are you more technically driven? Are you going for entrepreneurship and something creative? Or do you like to work for society and are you more focused on lifestyle, for example? Something else that we help people become aware of in NOKIA is the change in the original career path. In the past, we used to talk about career ladders. We had very clear career paths. This is true for many companies, not just in the telecom industry, but in the pharmaceutical industry or supply chain as well. By today, this has changed, and the term that we use is the lattice model, where we take also horizontal moves and we look for new challenges, enrich our experience. Gender does not really matter. So do you have the same opportunities as males when it comes to building your career path, be it the lattice model or something else? No, you have equal opportunities. And remember that the career opportunities of today may be different from tomorrow. So keep your eyes open, look for opportunities to learn and grow and build on your strengths, the skills that I was talking about a little bit earlier. Another very helpful background is if you happen to work in an inclusive workplace like NOKIA. Based on the People and Planet report, we are becoming better and better in this inclusiveness factor. And we are also increasing the number of female colleagues, especially when it comes to total hires. We see a positive trend. We are also putting a lot of effort into getting girls aware of what NOKIA has to offer. We organize events like Green Light for Girls, schools, STEM days, and local events, including events in Poland that I will show some pictures of later on. Our gender balance is also improving. We have more women working overall in NOKIA than 10 years ago. We have also fought for equality when it comes to pay, and we do our best to eliminate any kind of discrimination. This is true not just about gender, but disabilities and any other factors that have to do with inclusiveness and diversity. In 2019, we had a so-called Closing the Pay Gap event, which was focusing on ensuring equal pay for men and women in NOKIA. We are also very proud of the initiatives, communication and events that are organized internally in NOKIA. And one of these has been a recent Ada Lovelace Day with two remarkable women highlighted that you see the photos of here in this presentation. I would like to grab just one quote from one of the passages indicated in this article. If you get a degree in computer science or math, you can get a job in any industry that you have a passion for. So think about the first half of the sentence, computer science or math, actually anything to do with technology, but also the importance of working in an area that you are passionate about. Without passion, you cannot build a real career. If you are passionate about what you do, you will be recognized, you will be respected by colleagues for sure. I spoke about some inspiring NOKIA initiatives that we have in the company. School, STEM, Green Light for Girls, Women's Day events. Poland has been also putting a lot of effort into these events. We also have a so-called Strong Her network, a community of women, which also has some men supporting them. This really paves the way for young women to focus on ensuring equality for future girls joining the company. And talking about inspiration, it's not just about women inspiring other women, but it's also about inspiring men. One that I found, which I wanted to share with you, was Benedict Cumberbatch, who says that he will only take a job in a new film if he is assured that his female colleagues will receive exactly the same amount of pay. How's that as inspiration with such a wonderful actor as Benedict? So, what may be the key takeaways from this session? That there are role models around us, that there are many people who influence us, mostly positive examples. We find these as well in the workplace as in the external world. They can be future astronauts, like Alyssa Carson that you see in the middle photograph. She will probably be the first person to walk on moon. She has decided about this, she has been selected, and she is very keen to make her dream come true. It's about people like Jacinda Ardern, who set an example for other women that nothing is impossible, and with empathy, support, and good leadership, she can help a country even through a crisis like COVID. And another inspiration that I would like to mention is Pippi Longstocking, who some of you may know from your children's stories. Actually, what is remarkable about her is that one of the senior executives in one of the trainings I attended used her quote when talking about how he was thinking about his career moves and saying, if I haven't tried it before, I should definitely be able to do it. How's that? Pippi Longstocking inspiring a senior executive in NOKIA. So what is my main message? Be brave, just do it. Realize yourself. Thank you very much for listening.
Bori, thank you a lot for this speech and encouraging us to fight against stereotypes. Right, now let's move to the next presentation.